Hello everyone, Julia here, hello from Sweden and welcome to a new video. And in today's video I want to show you my finished book journal from second half of 2023. This one I used from July until December. A flip through of the first book journal from January to June is already on my YouTube channel, so I will leave a link to that flip through in the description box in case if you would like to see that first journal, but this is second half of the last year. I read a lot, so as it turned out I needed two book journals last year, two of these inserts, and each one was enough for half a year, and I think probably it will be something similar this year. I already started a new book journal and I will show it a bit later in some of the later videos, probably in the end of January. And I think my book journal was one of the favorite journals last year, and I'm really happy that I started to journal more about books, not only just write down a list of books that I read, but also started to journal a bit and print the book covers and started this kind of journal because I really like how this journal looks. I really like to decorate the pages and write down some of the favorite quotes, some things that I liked about the book, but still I try to keep this journal pretty simple, and basically I do the same every month. I have a list of books that I want to read during this month, and this is like not a strict list that I have to follow, but just some ideas, something that I would like to read, and of course I can add something else to this list or read something else, and some of this then will be shifted to the next month. I also like to make a cover for each month, like this kind of cover page with some book themed collage for every month. I really like to make collages, and I think it's a great way to use some of my book stickers, and then basically I print a cover of every book that I read, and if I really liked the book I journal more about it and also write down some quotes. Like for example, this is the first book that I read in July called Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. That was one of the new books of him published last year, and I joined his Kickstarter campaign for this 4 books for secret projects, and this one was released in July, and I really liked it. It's a fantasy book, but it's inspired by Asian culture, so that's why you see here some Japanese themed stickers and decorations, and I really liked this book, and I saved many quotes from this book, so I wrote down all the quotes that I liked, and this is still about the same book, and this here also is still about this book. So as you can see, I liked it quite a lot and I journaled a lot about it. This is just a card from the box with this book. Usually it was a box with a book and some additional things like a pin, a sticker, a bookmark and stuff like that. So I saved these cards with the content of the box in my book journal. This is already the next book that I read, and with some books I keep it really simple, just print out the cover, also write dates when I read it, and pages, amount of pages, and also my rating, and just some small decorations around. And it doesn't mean that I didn't like the book, but I just read a lot, and I don't really want to journal about every single book that I read, so I mostly journal only about very special ones, the ones that I really liked. And yeah, and sometimes I'm just not really in the mood to write a lot or to write down some quotes, so I just keep it really, really simple, even if I like the book. Like, as you can see, these books are also rated very high, but I just wasn't in the mood to journal about them. This is already August, and the same a title page, a reading list. And in summer I didn't read a lot. I was really busy and had a lot of work, and also went to many concerts and festivals, so I didn't have that much time for reading, but still I read a few books in summer as well. And starting from September it's definitely more again. Yeah, and it's mainly fantasy books that I read. Many fantasy series, but also sometimes, occasionally, something else. I read Heartstopper comics in September. It was recommended by a good friend, and I was kind of a bit skeptical in the beginning. I thought that it's not really my kind of reading in terms that it's young adult. It's a comic and it's young adult. It's about teenagers and mainly for teenagers, I guess. But it turned out that I was wrong about it, and I really liked it. And I think it's not only for teenagers, it's about teenagers, but it's good for all ages, and there are many life lessons in it and some important things, and it's just really very cozy, cute, heartwarming story. So I really liked it, and I will continue to read it when there will be some new parts of this comic. So I read all of them at once. Like at that point there were 4 volumes, and sometime later then also the 5th one that came out in the end of the year. And this is already October, a bit spooky cover for the month. This is another Brandon Sanderson book, the last secret project called The Sunlit Man. And again I have this card from the box. This is also a sticker that came in that box. Also really liked it a lot and wrote down quite a few things about this book and some favorite quotes. I also got this beautiful interactive illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Mina Lima edition. Probably you know these beautiful books if you're into reading, and I collect these books, not only Harry Potter but also other books by Mina Lima. They also have fairy tales like The Little Mermaid and The Beauty and the Beast, and some other stories as well. But in October Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban came out in this beautiful edition, so I received it, and also of course I had to read it. And yeah, Harry Potter is one of my favorite childhood book series, so I'm always happy to read it again. I already have first 2 parts in this edition as well. Yeah, so this is like a Harry Potter themed spread. And then this is November. November I think also was not my best reading month, but I read a few really long books in November, so I think it's not bad after all. And the last month here is December. I really like this cute reading mouse. This is a sticker from my sticker advent calendar. One of the days was a sticker sheet with reading animals, and mouse is one of them, and also this cute owl. So I used some of those stickers in my book journal. I read some of Terry Pratchett books in December. He's one of my favorite authors, and I already read everything by him, but yeah, sometimes I like to reread his books. Also, I read Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. This is the last book in Skyward series, and it just came out in the end of November, and I received it in the end of November and read it in the beginning of December, and this is the last book in the series, as I said, and I really liked it, so I also wrote down some quotes. This page is also still about this book. I also read some comics in December, the 5th volume of Heartstopper, new part of Saga, also one of my favorite comics, and also some Stranger Things comics. Yeah, and this is the last few pages in this journal. And the last book was Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. That's one of my favorite books to read in December, and I read it, I think, almost every year because it's kind of Christmas themed, and it's a really good reading for December. It's really funny, and it belongs to a series about, or like sub-series about death, which is one of my favorite Terry Pratchett characters, so it's always great to read his books again. And I had this one last spread left in this journal, so I decided to write down here the best books that I read in 2023, my favorite books of last year. Also printed something from Goodreads, like it showed me there the shortest and the longest book that I've read, and also that I finished my reading challenge of 100 books. I read 101, and yeah, just decorated and just wrote down here my absolutely favorite books of 2023. I have 13 here, many Brandon Sanderson books, and I think almost all of them are fantasy, so I will quickly show you what I wrote down here. So first one is Dress of the Emerald Sea, the first book of Brandon Sanderson that came out this year. I started my year from this book and it was really great. Then the Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong, and it's a standalone fantasy book, and it was really great. Then I also really liked Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and it's actually not fantasy, it's more like a mystery or thriller, and it was really very fast and entertaining reading. Then Daniel T. Jackson, Illborn. I started to read this new series, and it was a new author for me, and so far there are only 2 books in this series, and I really liked both. Then also Ryan Cahill and the Bound and the Broken series. I wrote down here like all the series because I read all the series this year, and I liked all the books that I read. There are 3 novellas now and 4 books, and I really liked all of them. It's not finished yet, so there still will be more books in this series, but so far I read everything what is already published and I really loved it. And I also discovered another new author this year, Will White, and his Cradle series. There are 12 books, and I also just wrote down like all the series, not one book from the series, because it's kind of difficult to choose one, but I really liked all the series. And also Brandon Sanderson again, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, the first book in this journal that I showed, this one. Then I also reread autobiography of Ozzy Osbourne called I'm Ozzy, and it's really very funny book, and I sometimes I really love to read it again. Then also I read Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. This is also not fantasy. It's a really good coming of age story, and yeah, he is a great writer. I read a few books by him and also really liked Boy's Life. Then also Heartstopper comics that I already mentioned here earlier. Another Brandon Sanderson book, The Sunlit Man, the last of the Kickstarter secret projects, and also Defiant, the last book in the Skyward series, and Travis Baldry and Bookshops and Bone Dust. This one, and this was one of the last books that I read this year. And I read the first one called Legends and Lattes last year. And it's very cozy fantasy, and this is a prequel to Legends and Lattes that came out this year. Also really liked it a lot, same as Legends and Lattes. I even couldn't choose my favorite because Legends and Lattes are about coffee shop, and this one is about a bookshop, as you can guess from the title. And I really loved both series, loved the characters, loved this cozy story with some adventures. It was really great. So these are my favorite books of 2023, and with this list I finished this journal, and I will continue to do something similar in 2024. In a very similar format. I think I will stick to this. This really works well for me, so I will stick to this. I like how these book journals turned out. These two book journals of 2023 turned out. Yeah, so I hope you liked this flip through of my finished book journal, and thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next videos. Bye!